Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the side story here at People's Souls. Alright then, part 2, which means the usual, but before we begin with anything, as always, to anybody bumping into the narration through this very episode, the playlist is linked in the description of this video together with every of the other SOWS playlists all in order, or if you just want to find this one easier for this very specific side story, you can find it very much easier down in the pinned comment in the comment section below, but everything is there, so enjoy and thank you very much. And as always, thank you very much guys for all the likes and the comments that you guys leave on not just the previous part but in general, but always like to engage with you guys, always like to see the comments and to see what your thoughts and opinions are on stuff that is happening in those specific parts. So thank you very much, really appreciate it. But yeah, let's begin with the usual, which means we're gonna do a quick recap of part 1. So for those of you who want to skip over that, you can do so by just hitting the timestamp, the very first timestamp down below in the pinned comment, and you will be right at the beginning of today's part. But let's begin with on the previous part. We pretty much began our story with a flashback into something that appears to be a distant past, as we see Shu interact with a young voice as it is being displayed there, as they are conversing about certain matters, and then later we see Shu pretty much awake from her dream as she is, or rather was mending to a device that she, Nian, and Dusk are pretty much in a collaboration putting together. Essentially, they're making a pseudo-Faramut. You can just call it what it is. They're literally just making a mobile city into a pseudo-Faramut, which basically is the plan of, hey, we're gonna make our own Faramut, kinda, well, we just need a heart or something, you know, to link to, as the whole plan is to eventually kill the, you know, the bestial Faramut that they are all kind of fragments of, but if the big guy dies, they will die, so they are all concocting a plan to actually survive that. So this is the plan, this is the solution. They're gonna link themselves to something that they will build themselves, essentially, and it is being sanctioned by Yan itself, apparently. But yeah, that is the plan. At least that's what it seems. We'll see if anything changes throughout the story. But the three of them are working on this thing together. After that, we get introduced to multiple characters, as per usual, that are going to be part of the story. Beginning with a tiny little angry burp girl, maybe even tsundere girl, that has... I mean, she has a lot of Ifrit energy, I have to put it that way. She has a lot of Ifrit energy and a lot of spunk under her, but we'll see where that goes. After that, we meet the de facto leader of Dahuang, you could say it, by the name of Zhang, and we get to meet our youngling squad, essentially, as we meet once again with Zuo, who has been with us for the past couple of SOWS stories. We meet two new characters, one of which is a mischievous girl by the name of Grainbuds, aka one of our recruitable operators, and the operator that we can get through this event for free, aka Hasheng, as the three of them are just engaging in some farm work and some shenanigans on top. After that, we learn how Zuo actually got to Dahuang and why. Basically, TLDR, he is being punished for doing bad on his previous assignment, and this is his punishment. He has been sent over here to, well, see and think, and I guess learn from this. But as he arrived there, he meets Shu, and very quickly after that, through Grainbuds and Shu together, gets recruited to do some farm work, as he is now a farmhand, a helping farmhand over there, and is pretty much hanging out with both Grainbuds and Hasheng, and they are fast becoming friends. After that, we meet our next character for the story, which is the Assistant Minister of Engineering, as this guy is pretty much a legend, it seems, who has had some very big achievements in the past, but he is put in charge of essentially overseeing the construction, or rather turnover of Dahuang from a regular ass on-ground city into a mobile city, as all the fields and everything is being slowly turned into plates that are gonna be hefted onto the city that is being built. And we also meet we get reacquainted with a character that is returning to us, that we met all the way back in Invitation to Wine, which is Ning Che. After that, we follow our squad of younglings as they are searching, or rather helping Grain Buds try and find a lost stock beast. They run into a old lumberjack who appears to not be able to converse with anybody, seems mentally also a bit distant, and apparently every time Grain Buds, or just music it seems, plays, his mind just knocks itself out and his eyes just completely glaze over, as he is completely gone at that point. After that, we meet yet another returning character from the very much previous story, which was Vernal Winds. The record keeper is also here, as, or rather Yuo as he's called. He decided to follow apparently Zuo over to Dahuang, as he figured this could be much more interesting than any other assignment that he could go through. And pretty much the squad of younglings is now a squad of 4 of them, as they all became pretty fast friends. We also see a little scene between Hasheng and Shu as they are inspecting the experimental rice paddies, essentially, that they are having in a controlled environment, and are pretty much testing out how much the plants can take when it comes to originium pollution until they pretty much just die out. And it seems to be a rough 25%, or rather exact 25%, where the current margin is. If it's 25 or above, everything dies. But, as Shu points out, the old margin a couple of years ago was 15%, and they did push it quite high, and who knows how high they can go in the future if stuff keeps proceeding smoothly. Sometime after that, we see a festival. The festival for essentially the local deity of Shennong is taking place. A opera is being held. Our 2 boys are essentially hanging out at the Shennong shrine with pretty much all the townsfolk that are celebrating there and preparing for the harvest festival, while Shu went out to meet the old lumberjack, as she brought him some self-made cookies and is trying to talk to him, as he is just failing to respond, and whatever she's saying is also making the man cry, indicating that there is definitely some kind of strong relationship or connection between them from the past, but we don't know yet too much about it. But the 2 of them get also interrupted by the appearance of Grain Buds. Even though she was supposed to be at the festival performing with her flute, seems that she snuck out and went to the lumberjack. But as the harvest festival pretty much reaches its climax, as the harvest literally starts, all shit goes wild, as the dam explodes, as it seems some originium has accumulated itself and somehow managed to sneakily make its way into the dam and accumulate and detonate at one point. And yeah, that brings quite a lot of water onto the fields, which is obviously not something you want. People scramble, try to save as much as they can, as they are trying to prevent any kind of pollution happening to the rice fields, as harvest has already been in a dire state this year. The situation is so drastic rather, that even Nian and Dusk are lending a hand in the repair and rescue work for the fields. Hasheng has a very quick and bright idea to also use the just made platforms under the fields, as most of the fields have already been made into platforms and are ready to be lifted somewhere. He orders them to be actually lifted and saved from the floods as much as possible. After the whole thing dies down a tiny bit, we see Grainbutts going through the fields as she's going through the pretty much devastated rice fields. She does run into a very peculiar looking rice plant that, outside of everything else around it being dead, is still standing, but has a very sinister coloring to it, as it's essentially the plant essentially is in a black and reddish color. After that, we see Shu, who is also going through the fields and mending to them and looking at the damages. She sees a caravan approach from the distance. The caravan is bringing in relief supplies to the city, as they were apparently nearby, it seems, as they're very quick considering everything to be there. But the man that steps out in the front of the caravan pretty much moves up to Shu very quickly and addresses her with "my dear sister," which pretty much indicates to us that that is one of the Sui siblings. And yeah, that is part 1. So let's proceed and see where we end up with part number 2. So, of course, we are going to be beginning with stage number 3, and we are going to go today all the way through to stage number 5, where we're going to be stopping for today. So, let's begin with stage number 3, titled Early Seeding. And it says, "The signs of heaven are right, time to get back on your feet, even if dark clouds draw near." And just like last time, the scenes for all of these stages today will be fused into one, and I will be checking and reading the descriptions of the new enemies after the cutscenes. So, let's begin. My dear sister, traveling with the gentleman has taught me that the lands beyond are very different from Dahuang. Humans have invented many new things in just a few decades. There are all kinds of cities in Nian, more than just fields as far as the eye can see. There are glamorous palaces and busy markets, and so many more fascinating things. I'm just coming back for a little break, then I'll go out on a long journey again. I don't know how many years it will be. Dahuang isn't the backwater hovel it once was. There are many people who can take care of these fields for you. Are you sure you don't want to go and see with me? I realize that the world outside isn't so different from Dahuang after all. How long has it been? Decades? Centuries? Perspectives change. The more you see, the more you realize that people are the same everywhere. Devious, but predictable. Yes, now I fully understand what the gentleman said before he died. Just how long do you plan to stay here, my dear sister?
Wei! Why do you still shut yourself away like this? It took us so much effort to get you out of that hill. Shu's not here. Wanna go for a walk with me? There's nothing new here, but the produce is on another level compared to the agricultural plates in other cities. Say, have you seen how they make booze out of grain yet? Did the Tianchi Burrows come looking for trouble? I'm not afraid of the Tianchi Burrows. With skills like that, you should be dealing with that big guy outside who refuses to move. All the Tianchis are out there for the relief effort. What can I do on my own? It's not like I could do it with my own 2 hands. I'm so bored. Come on, let me see what you're drawing. No. Oh, don't be like that. I could give you ideas if you've got art block or whatever. Get out. Why so nervous? Looks like you're hiding something. No, I'm not. Something's just bothering me. The folks at the Tianchi bureaus might be annoying, but they can't actually do anything about you. The Imperial Court has already given us a guarantee. The worst they could do is complain. So you're bothered about him? I can feel his presence. He never hides. Are you sure you don't want to go and see him? We're family after all. No. Wow, you really are cold. I heard how he always brought you the best paintings of the era whenever he passed by your hill. Don't pretend you didn't like them. Things are different now. When was the last time you saw him? I can't say I remember. His business got so big that he started getting warnings from the SOWS regulator. He pulled things back a little afterwards. He's been enjoying himself the last few years, sightseeing all over Yan. But the SOWS regulator keeps a much tighter eye on him than it does on us. How do you know all that? I had a peek in the regulator's notebooks in the course of my dealings with them. The parts that weren't super double classified anyway. His business became so big. I always remember him as the simple-minded boy following Shu around, with no eye for anything other than silkworms and mulberry. The last time I saw him was when he passed by, and I caught a glimpse through the painting. His eyes were clouded, repulsive, like the stinky Wei Chi failure, I know. He was in Baijiao the year our Wei Chi failure broke out. Who do you think Yan had its eyes on for the past few years while ignoring you and I? You think they're in cahoots? No idea. I thought Ling and Dai were the ones he got along with. But he wouldn't have been able to call on people like he does now if the SOWS regulator made a decision like that, would he? You know how comfortable he is in human skin. Every transaction in the books he submits every year to the SOWS regulator is perfect above board. You couldn't find a flaw if you put them under a microscope. He's always the first to donate whenever a city is hit by catastrophe. The SOWS regulator has to give him some respect on that point alone. You really think he did it out of the kindness of his heart? He's our brother. I won't badmouth him behind his back. Yeah, right. Anyway, relationships like ours don't exist among humans. Brothers, sisters, You what? Get out of here! Now, and no peeking! Fine, no need to get all violent and excitable. Sibling ties in the worldly sense mean nothing to us after all. Maybe Yanese historians will invent a word to describe our relationship in a few hundred years or so. Maybe. But we would have thrown a few more family reunions if you could change that stubborn streak of yours. I'm not stubborn. So, when are you going to show me the 12 scrolls in your study? Go away! Yes, I know it's 12. You kept the one of Senjie, our third sister, even after she disappeared. Have you figured out who the people depicted in the scrolls are? Or did you give up on that? Unless you haven't even started on your self-portrait? Why are you so stubborn?
A rainstorm. The dark clouds have dispersed, but the moisture in the air remains palpable. Zula watches Hasheng clench his teeth and press the switch on his apparatus. A large vehicle, the likes of which he has never seen, rolls over the fields, trampling row after row of crops underneath. Wind blows past dead yellow leaves, making a sound like scornful laughter. Disaster comes and goes as it pleases. What can mortal men do before the will of heaven? All these crops have to be destroyed? Yes. It was my first ever test field. Maize, all soaked in originium polluted water. No other choice. Restoring originium polluted soil is extremely difficult. The land is vast, but precious little of it is fit for farming. Even the cob of the corn was sweet. I tried it when I first came to Dahuang. It was the best thing ever. I wanted to grow it in the earth, so that everyone could taste the sweetness, feel the joy that I did when I tried it for the first time. Only the bare earth is left once the engine rumbling passes.
Found you, Xiaohe! The farmers are arguing with the Tianxis after the engineers bulldozed the field. You need to come! Hurry! Folks, the disaster has left us with little supplies and even less time. We can't afford any delays. The decision has already been made to abandon these farms. Please, let us pass through with our tools.
Abandon? You liar! The Tianxis who planted here told me 2 days ago that the crop research was at a crossroads. Who gave you the authority to trample our fields with your trucks?
Originium particle concentration in plate D-4. Soil sample exceeds acceptable limits. That means this field is polluted and no longer usable.
We've dealt with this stuff like this every year. Who do you think you are? An outsider deciding that this field should be abandoned?
These fields can't be moved. It's been polluted by natural disaster, and the higher-ups have made the decision to not save it.
This is already a bad year for the harvest. There's going to be a famine if we don't save the fields. You've never seen thousands die of starvation, have you? All you people care about is your construction projects. You're not helping to save the fields, you're trampling them. Dahuang belongs to us!
You speak without wisdom.
No wisdom, huh? I'll show you wisdom.
You dare strike me? Screw you, son of a...
I'll show you, son of a...
Hey, everybody, calm down!
Uncle Meng! These fields... Just look! It's bad enough that these fields were ruined by Reginium, now these people are ruining it with their trucks! All they talk about is ministers and reports. Minister who? We've never seen them! We've not received any notice of these fields being abandoned. I thought the decision had been made to prioritize saving the soil.
You didn't hear? The construction supplies have arrived. The rebuilding of Dahuang resumed last night. The cost of soil repairs has been reassessed based on the latest damage reports. The decision was made to prioritize construction of the core and abandon the other agricultural plates and make preparations to move the core city.
What? Has research on the source of the pollutant been completed? Why the hasty decision?
This comes from Tianchi Barrow's way up. You can ask up the chain yourself if you don't believe it.
Sheng turns around. The farmers stare blankly at the thread marks left on the fields. If the Tianchi Barrow's instructions are to abandon the fields, we will comply. But these fields aren't just places of work, they're people's homes as well. If there hasn't been a formal notice of evacuation, please move this equipment elsewhere, at least for now.
Fine, what will happen in the next few days?
Doshe.
I understand the hard work you folks put into farming this land, but things have changed. People were stuck to the earth before the nomadic cities. Today, though, most agriculture takes place in hydroponic facilities on mobile plates. To be frank, there is nothing special about this land. You said you're studying originium-resistant crops, but nothing's come of the research after all these years, has it?
Quick flashback. I'm just not sure. If this is the only result, then there is no way to expand the application of the Wanqing, the 10,000 Qing of Fertile Fields project. All these years and nothing to show for it. Not even a bud of hope. They're gone. What did you say to them, Xiaoe? Nothing special. I think we should get to cleaning up, Uncle Wang.
Big Buffalo! Big Buffalo! What are you doing just standing there? What are we gonna do? Listen to the Tianjis and move Dahuang away? Leave all these fields behind? We should go and ask Xiang. Say something!
She would be the first to know if anything was happening to Dahuang. If she isn't saying anything, that means it's out of her hands. And mine.
Why are you holding your head like that?
Maybe Shennong really was a celestial Xian. Otherwise, how could she have carved out farmland in an environment like this?
Sure, Shennong was amazing, but it's amazing how people have taken care of the land. Shennong would be so mad if you give up this easily. Whoa!
Grainbutt steps on something and hastily pulls her leg back. A figure rises from the swaying rice. That was a good dream. I dreamt of a bumper harvest before a catastrophe woke me up.
Why are you sleeping in the fields? Someone might step on you.
You already stepped on me.
That's because you're sleeping in the fields.
Apologies, sir. Are you okay? I'm not injured, but I've got a big muddy footprint on this fine fabric.
It's your fault for not watching where you're sleeping.
You should watch where you're walking. Grainbutt.
Well, what do you want me to do? Wash it for you? Buy a new set?
Forget it. All my clothes are made of the finest stuff from all over the land. You wouldn't know how to wash it. Are you the one who delivered the relief supplies? Hey, you're awfully clever. I'm a trader who managed to make a few coins. I came back when I heard about the disaster that hit Dahuang. Got to do my part for my homeland after all.
You're from Dahuang? Why were you sleeping in the fields then? Don't you have a home here?
It's been so long that I could hardly recognize the place. Lost my way. Say, do you know where the Shadow Play Theater is?
Shadow play? What's that?
A kind of play that uses shadow cast by cloth-shrouded lamps and straw figures. Do you not watch shadow plays here anymore?
I've never seen it.
Where do you celebrate the harvest now? The Great Stage?
Just follow this path and turn left at the third tree. It's behind the Shennong shrine.
Oh, the Shennong shrine is still here. That's good to hear. Thanks. You're the first one to point the way for me. Well, fate has determined that we would meet. Here, I have a wish for sale. Anything you like. The man opens his hand to reveal a round stone that gives off a serene glow.
What's this?
A wish for anything you desire.
A wish? I don't believe you. You're a trader, not some Xian. How could you make my wish come true?
I may be a humble trader, but I'm a big enough deal that I buy and sell anything. But the opportunity to train with me doesn't come to everyone.
For real?
Grainbutt looks back at his Sheng behind her, thinks about it, and turns back to the man.
I wish Dahuang could always be safe and peaceful, and the harvest's always good.
Sure, I can sell you that wish. What will you pay me for it? Grainbutt, this guy's kinda weird. We should go.
There's no use trying to scam me. I don't have any valuables.
It doesn't have to be valuable in terms of monetary value. I accept anything that you value and treasure.
Johei, can I play that song?
Song? What song? Grainbuds pouts.
You stupid buffalo.
Far away, a few foul beasts perch atop a stock beast, picking bugs off its hide with their long beaks. The stock beast quietly munches on grass, while the foul beasts frolic atop, occasionally stretching their necks and chirping happily. Grainbuds puts her flute to her lips. The wind provides a gentle accompaniment. Green hills, flowing water, moonlight on the river. Sway, sway, little boat, let the flowers bloom. Silent are the stars on high, the wandering seeds sprout. Far on a boat you go, rice flowers in the wind. Sway, sway, far away you go. A fine payment. The stone is yours. Your wish will come true. Grainbuds puts down the flute, glares at her Sheng, and runs away fuming. She looked angry. Why? She arranged it for me when I took my entrance exam 3 years ago. I remembered. She just put me on the spot. Ah, such precious sentiment. What about you? Is there anything you would like to buy from me? Me? Thank you, but there's nothing I want in particular right now. Or should I say, what I want can't be bought. I have to earn it on my own. I could hear you out if you'd like. There isn't much I can brag about, but I've been to more places than most, and so I sell more things than most. You said you sell anything. Do you sell a future where nobody will starve? Yes. What? The more valuable the good, the higher the price. What price will you pay for your tremendous dream? Well... I've cleaned up the polluted crops, Sheng. Anything else you need me to... You? I'm not sure why you're staring at me, young man. Have we met before? Excuse me, sir. We need to talk. Mr. Yi. Ah, you must be young Lord Zuo. Alas, where are my manners? I didn't even prepare a gift for our first meeting. You know me? Suddenly, an eerily-looking stock beast appears. Zula reflexively reaches for his sword, but finds only a Tianchi apparatus for controlling agricultural instruments on his belt. His movement did not escape the man's attention. The corners of the man's mouth rise up slightly. No need to be nervous, Lord Zuo. These are but harmless toys. Weave cause to effect, cut unreal into real. Are these your creations? Just doing my part. The man waves his hand, and the strange creature turns to tiny threads before vanishing. The ways of the Pheromone proxies are mystifying. Petty parlor tricks, not much use to them. Pestilence and blight tend to follow a flood. Dealing with disaster you can't see or touch is hard. Weave it into an object, and it becomes easier to deal with. My elder sister would chastise me for violating the laws of nature if she saw me do this. You shouldn't be here. This is my childhood home, after all. I got a little homesick. I didn't know your kind had childhoods. We were all ignorant once, no matter how long our lifespans. New things left a deeper impression on us. And we think more about those who were around us at the time. Any meeting of you and your siblings is an important matter that should have been reported to the Sui regulator in advance. The Imperial Court's convoy was delayed by catastrophe. I got word from the old Tianchi and immediately sent relief supplies out of my own pocket. I only saw my older sister briefly and haven't even caught a glimpse of the younger ones. Isn't the Sui regulator being a little, inhumane? The Sui regulator has instructions to keep a close eye on you. Even though I've never broken a single rule in all these years. It is not up to you. And yet you're not wearing the garb of a candle holder. The man smiles. His demeanor is gentle, polite, relaxed. But Zuola cannot help but feel a chill up his spine. I have heard much about you, Lord Zuo. That we should meet here is certainly the will of heaven, and I would very much like to make your acquaintance. There's no need to flatter me. I've seen many a scion of blue blood families in Baijiao, plenty of them intelligent and learned. But it would be a challenge to find more than a handful who could get down to business and do honest work like you. In the 11th month of last year, you entered the den of the Dangyi Shanghai Zhong by yourself and rescued dozens of innocent prisoners. In the 2nd month of this year, you braved numerous dangers in pursuit of that special goblet. The uninformed believed you to have risen to your position at such a young age because of your father. What do they know of the dangers of a candleholder's duty? Why should one mistake wipe out all the hard work that you've done in the past? You're not supposed to know of these things. A businessman hears many things. After all, the things one hears can be a commodity too, if another is willing to pay the price for them. And it's my business to know what kind of customer would pay what kind of price for information. For example, I know what's on the other side of the river to the north of Dahuang. I know what Nian is building here. I know you suspect that ulterior motives were involved in the catastrophe that struck Human, but all your leads came up empty. Am I right? Your meticulousness is impressive, but I would not underestimate the Sui regulator if I were you. We will get to the bottom of any suspicions we have. I would caution you to toe the line. Is this a word of advice from a friend? A word of warning from a candleholder of the Sui regulator. I'm sure you worry too much. The best Yanshis in all of Yan are all gathered in the Chamber of Heaven's Designs north of Dahuang. What can one little man do? Should you not be more concerned about the things across the river? What? Do you know how many Tianshis the Chamber of Heaven's Designs has lost in the past 3 months? Don't you dare spread lies and rumors. Trust is a merchant's greatest asset. I never lie, Lord Zuo. You can look into it yourself if you don't believe it. Then think about what you want to do, and whether it might involve a deal with me. Everything is just as usual. The wind is silent. Stock bees bury their heads in the grass. The girl looks around.
Stupid Nian. How many times have I told him not to run away? Stupid Xiaohei. He doesn't even remember my song. I'm not playing with him anymore.
Layer after layer of leaves block out the sky. The wind brings with it the pleasant scent of rice. The earth is damp and she leaves footprints in it as she steps upon it, walking forward while brushing aside the leaves that hide the skies.
Mian, it's time to go home. Mian, why did you run away? Get back to your pen, or I'm gonna get scolded along with you.
A gentle breeze brushes by. The large dark eyes of the stalk beast reflect the skies, the clouds, and the fields. Grainbutt sees her own reflection in those eyes. I am going away.
Huh?
I don't want to eat grass anymore.
What? Has Xiaohei been putting weird stuff in your fodder again? I'll talk to him and make sure you guys are eating properly.
It's scary here. Death is coming. Will you come with us?
You mean the flood a few days ago? No need to be scared. The flood is gone. I'll build tougher houses for you, so you won't have to be afraid when catastrophes come. I'll protect you.
No. It comes from across the river. Look beneath your feet.
Beneath... what?
Grainbutt sees her own reflection in those eyes. A gentle breeze brushes by. The large dark eyes of the stalk beast reflect the skies, the clouds, and the fields. The girl looks around. Stalk beasts bury their heads in the grass. The wind is silent. Everything is just as usual. Uncle Wang, what are you doing? Moving trees. The peace tree? It was in perfect good shape. Why are you moving it? What about those two Mutianchis? Give me a hand and move that dirt over there. They've gone back to the factories. I'll be transporting materials through here in a bit. Everyone knows that there is no saving this land. Xiaohei, you're a student at the Tianxi Bureau, but you're also from around here. Tell us, what's happened to the land? I don't know. Yeah, I know. Every inch of land is business to the Mandarins. How much money it takes to turn them into moving plates and how much money they stand to make. But this is our home. My family has lived here for generations. How could they tell us to abandon our home just like that? This is my home too. I promise I'll get to the bottom of what's happening here. I'll find a way to save the land. What use are your promises? They promised to take these fields along when they started building the nomadic city. Fine, I'll pretend I lost the land to a catastrophe, but I'm taking this tree with me. My grandpa's grandma planted it. The people in the cities think home is something you can take with you. Well, this tree is my home, and I'm taking it with me. I'll help. The old farmer lifts the peace tree onto his shoulder, carrying his home. He leaves deep footprints in the mud. Sheng looks back at the core city as he carries the heavy tree. The lumberjack looks down, a blank expression on his face. After a period of silence, he opens his mouth. Are you looking for something?
You can talk.
What are you doing here?
My stock beast ran away. I came to bring him back.
What stock beast?
Right here.
She points to her side. The water underneath her feet reflects her figure, the clouds, the sky. There is straw all around, but no sign of any animal. She blinks.
I could have sworn he was here.
Follow me. I'll help you find your stock beast.
Have a seat, Lord Zuo.
Assistant Minister Ning.
What a coincidence. From Shangshu to human, and now to Dahuang, you must be an outstanding candle holder to be handed such responsibility.
What are your instructions?
Please, no need for such formality. I would not be meeting you here if this was official business. There is a matter that requires your assistance in a less than official manner.
About the Sui proxies?
The 12 Pagodas and 5 Cities project is of crucial importance to Great Yan. Having 4 proxies here in the same place at a time like this is a headache, to say the least. There may be devastating consequences if someone with ulterior motives decides to cause trouble.
Do you mean to say that you already know someone intends to cause trouble?
Are you aware that the development of Dahuang has resumed?
The trader supplies. He should not interfere with such matters.
All I know is that he had a meeting with Assistant Minister Van from the Ministry of Engineering. Do you know him?
I'm familiar with him. He has been working on Dahuang's mobile plate development in recent years, but he also participated in humans' repairs a few months ago. What is Yi planning?
Yi was known to be close to Shu, and the two of them used to farm Dahuang 1,000 years ago. Yi later left Dahuang to start a business. He returns to Dahuang once every few decades. The last visit was 60 years ago.
You recall these details well. Do you suspect that he intends to sabotage Dahuang?
Right now, we need to figure out why he came back to Dahuang. This is what I would like you to uncover.
The Ministry of Rights and the Sui regulator have long been at odds over the Sui issue. Yet now you're asking me to do this.
Where do you stand yourself?
As a candle holder, my duty is to my orders, of course.
You want to be a good sword. That way, it's not the sword's fault if it kills the wrong person.
I'm not trying to shirk responsibility.
Have you ever thought about why the Sui regulator wants to eliminate the Sui by force? If there comes a day when human goes to the capital, ending the existence of both cities and the Faramut to the sound of cannon fire, do we really say we had no choice about all the people who lose their homes and the soldiers who lose their lives? Was there really no other way?
What prompts you to ask me to do this?
The welfare of the people, not the cloaks and daggers of the court. Honesty and integrity. I'm sure the answer is right there, in your heart.
The man points at the calm surface of the river, smooth like a mirror, almost like it has frozen in place. The water reflects the clouds in the sky and the girl's face. The stock beast is inside.
In the river?
You'll want to find him. Go down.
Alright. I'll find him down there and bring him back to his pen.
The river channel booms with the sound of crashing water and roiling air. The girl steps forward.
Come back! You'll die!
The old lumberjack suddenly raises his axe high before putting it back down meekly. Let me go, Zushi! I'll bring her back! I know how to handle it! She's not that far gone! Let me go and I can bring her back! Zushi, no! She can still be saved! Zushi!
There is only death there. She's beyond all help. You can't save her. Come back. Put up a grave monument. Where do you think you're going, you idiot? Huh? The stock beast is down there. The old lumberjack told me so. I'm bringing him back. You're the stock beast, you dumb rice brain! Are you talking about me? Of course I'm talking about you! You think there's a stock beast down there? Are you blind or stupid? Oh, shut up!
Splat. A piece of river mud hits Grain Buds in the face.
Whoa!
Her sight remains surprisingly clear. She still sees everything before her.
What's going on?
Grain Buds tries to wipe the mud away, but there is something hard in the mud that sticks to her face.
Why are there two pieces of... rice? Uncle? Where's the mute uncle? What uncle? All I see is you trying to jump into the river, you crazy idiot. Now throw that away.
Grain Buds washes away the mud by the river. The angry girl turns around. There is nobody in the forest beyond the leaf, but she stares long and hard into the woods and nods. The footsteps grow distant, disappearing amongst the trees. This next part is an excerpt from a letter, and it goes as follows. Has violated the status by entering Dahuang and meeting proxies without permission. The penalties hereof are temporarily deferred in consideration of his assistance to the disaster relief efforts. It is hereby ordered that depart Dahuang within 3 days under the supervision of the Sui regulator. Any delays will be subject to strict penalties. The red stamped letter sits prominently at the center of the table. It seems that whoever placed it here knew when the master of the room would return, and how she would react.
You wouldn't tell it to my face? You say you trust me, but will we ever have a chance to sit down and talk to each other again?
Well then, I do hope I did not blow anybody's ears out, but if I did, sorry? Also, I officially dub those two birdies the Chaos Birds. And yes, I'm talking about Grain Buds and whatever the other one is. Chaos Birds. Mark that, you'll see. But yeah. Interesting stuff, and yes, do be prepared. There's gonna be a lot of these visions, illusions, and stuff like that going on. So do pay attention when it starts to happen, because it starts to happen all of a sudden. But anyway, that's just a warning for ahead. But we do have 2 new enemies here. The one being Scum, very nicely named. And it says a large fabric construct that uses its huge mass and thick skin to run rampant across the paddies, detested by farmers. I mean, self-explanatory? The other one is field moose. Why? Can we really not just not call them field mice or something, really? Anyway, field moose. The field moose, god, this is killing me, is the farmer's sworn enemy, as well as a living page from the annals of Terra's agricultural history. They have adapted to modern farming techniques, and even throttle valves cannot escape their destructive tendencies. AKA mice on steroids. That's all you need to know. But yeah, also as a side note, I don't think I'm the only one who finds the bro to be very creepy. That vacant look in his eyes is It's something. It's sending me, but it's not sending me in a good direction. It's sending me in a I don't want to be close to that asshole. Anyway, stage 4. Dialogue of silk and linen. In matters of silk and linen, half the time is spent on bargaining. Let's begin. Flashback. Are you okay? No, Sha. Thank you so much. I was transporting rare ore from the north and selling it in the south when I got waylaid. You really saved my hide there. You shouldn't be traveling by side trails. It was because we were in a hurry. Anyway, thank you very much for your help. Please accept this token of my appreciation. Not interested. Bye. Sir, I assume you're a martial artist of some renown? That you walk in Jianghu? Do you want to spar? Ah, that's not for a meek merchant like me. But if you're a martial artist... As a matter of fact, I came across a rare tome on Kung Fu in the course of my travels. I think you might be interested. What use do I have for Kung Fu books? Don't make me laugh. How about just a look? I never sell anything my customers don't need. I'll pass. Just one look. It won't take much of your time. I promise you won't regret it. Enough is enough! Your skills have advanced beyond my wildest dreams. I am no longer a match for you. It's you. If I beat you, will it make me the first under heaven? You are already the first under heaven. The first? I'm the first under heaven? His heart feels like it is boiling. His fists still feel warm. He has reached the summit. He has done what he sought to do all his life. Wait, no. Who is this man? He feels dazed. What's going on? Who are you? Like I said, a humble merchant. I buy and sell everything. How did he find me? Why me? I know you've trained for 40 years with one opponent in mind. You have the chance to close the gap by a few decades. Are you not interested? I don't need your help. Maybe you don't want anything from me, but you have something I want. I heard you recently came into possession of a certain sword. Name your price. What can I offer you for it? Get lost! What a... It appears you're not satisfied with my offer. No, there is no need to be hasty. There is room for negotiation. There's nothing to negotiate! You honored the sword, and you honored our promise. I knew my old brother could be trusted. 40 years in search of the peak of Kung Fu perfection. Is there no price you would pay to reach that peak? Enough of your tricks!
Dad?
Ah, yes. Everything is for sale. It's just about putting the right price on it. How about the life of your daughter?
Wait. This is a construction site. You can't enter without permission.
Long time no see, Nian. Did you make all this? Very impressive.
Skip the flattery. What do you want?
Oh, it's been so long since we last saw each other, and this is how you greet me? Where would you have found the funding for your little toy if I wasn't hard at work north and south, paying taxes on my hard-earned income?
You think I don't know where your money comes from? Speculation and inflated prices, not to mention you're not the one who made all that stuff. There's a reason traders like you weren't respected in the old days. What are you doing here? I thought you would go to see Shu first.
Just curious about this thing they say will let our family live in peace and comfort forever and ever. Heard you ran into a bit of trouble. Need a hand?
If I did, it wouldn't be yours. What do you know about engineering?
I could help a little with Shu's side.
What are you planning?
I know that this energy core is more than just a construction project. It must be given a concept of life in order for it to become the conceptual Fahrenheit that enables our continued existence. That's why you need our big sister's powers, but she already has so much to deal with here. I've learned a trick or two from her. Wouldn't it be more efficient for me to take over?
So you care about her after all. I thought you two had a split.
Perish the thought. Can I take that as a yes?
No, hold it right there. Go back where you came from, and I'll pretend I never saw you today.
My sisters really don't want to see me.
I'm just on guard against your bag of tricks. Don't want to fall into your trap. Wouldn't be the first time you cheated me out of something.
I was just helping you sell some of your things. You always got your fair cut.
Just stop. I don't have time for your smooth talking. Go away. Far away from my project. The last thing I need is even more complaining from the old man.
What if I really wanted to go and see?
Wait.
Don't get so excited. Do I look like the kind of man who would steal from a little sister? I'm just here to see my sisters. I'm glad you're all still alive and kicking. Saw him once and that was it. Where did he go?
Wait.
You... Dusk?
What's the matter? Not quite as spirited as the last time I saw you, huh?
You should not abuse your proxy powers like that.
Give it a rest. Did you think I would have come looking for the SOWS regulator if I didn't really, absolutely, definitely have to? So he really found you.
What are you planning? Why did he suddenly return to Dahuang? Just as work on the 12 pagodas and the 5 cities is beginning.
Why are you asking me? Aren't you the candle holder?
I'll get to the bottom of it, of course.
And where do you intend to start?
I suspect there was someone behind the previous disaster. With the construction of the 12 pagodas and 5 cities looming, the offender may be in hiding nearby.
And what is a lone candle holder going to do without help?
I'm not the only one the SOWS regulator has in Dahuang.
Then you can keep following the lead of others, completely oblivious to what's going on, just like you always do. Looks like taking off that uniform has cleared your eyes a bit. Maybe there's hope for you yet.
I don't need your advice.
I didn't like to deal with calculating types. I'm going to say this once, and only once. The needle prick is smart, very smart. He's not going to leave a trail for you to find. And you people know that, having been on his case for so many years. Brute force is more effective when dealing with someone like that.
Force?
Here.
A picture scroll?
What do you think you can do on your own, even if you somehow catch him in the act? This will at least keep his feet tied for a while.
It's a major violation of regulation for a candle holder to have private contact with a proxy, never mind borrowing her power.
It's your choice.
You'd help me?
I've said enough. The ball is in your court now.
Dosha.
So you came here to play and saw me sleeping by the river? But that doesn't make sense. Why would I still have flowers that I picked in a dream? My leg hurts too. My cramps while dreaming means you're growing taller. Congrats! Yay! You haven't grown an inch these past few years. The only thing that's gotten bigger is your voice. And you sneaked out of class, didn't you? Shh, keep it down! I knew it! Are you really a student at the Tianji Burrows? Why do you always see you outside? If I'm not at school, it means I have something more important to do than sit in school. None of your business. I won't tell anyone you sneaked out of class if you don't tell anyone I came to the riverside. Deal? Where's my fan? Give it back. How did you know? Pfft, you're so mean. I already gave you your flute. What do you want? You just cobbled it together from some bamboo lying around, and you only gave it to me after you were done playing it. Cobbled it together? You... Listen to the sound. Look at the texture. Do you know how hard it was to give it away? Give it back if you don't want it. It's that nice? Alright, you can have your fan back. But we're keeping this a secret. That's more like it. Here, it's this stalk of rice. See how pretty the red color is? It's the only one alive here. Is it some kind of new species? Hey, why did you pull it out? My homework. Do you know where else something like this grows? Any kind of crop will do. And that's pretty like this. Don't tell anyone. Just let me know. I'll come and take a little bit. Isn't that cheating? And don't pick it yourself. Don't want you damaging it. Tell me and I'll come. Don't tell anyone else. Fine, fine. Just keep my name out of it if the Tianjis catch you. You worry about that time you gave the test stock piece diarrhea with the wrong feed. You...
I have a dream. Dahuang is big, very big. It takes a whole day to walk from the east end to the west end, and you'll break your leg before you walk a full circle around its farmlands. But Lao Shi says Dahuang isn't big enough to feed everyone. I've never been outside Dahuang. This is the northern border of Yan, with only rough roads through the mountains and rivers. The food produced here is the only link to the world outside. The way of the grain on the stalks in summer and autumn is the way of the land. There is no sight like the sight of farmland during a bumper harvest. Who's there? An old farmer stands in the fields. Her facial features are unclear. There are tiny flowers in her hair. Hello?
Here.
Aho?
Till the earth. Loosen the soil, plant the seeds, and let them grow. Plow with focus.
The youth takes the hoe. The old farmer turns around and bends down to work the soil again. The hoe is heavy. He raises it up high. Then he brings it down onto the earth. Thump. A rice seedling buds from the loosened soil. It grows rapidly, and soon flowers begin to bloom from its stalks. The youth feels a strange sense of fatigue. He wipes the sweat from his forehead and raises the hoe again. Thump. In the blink of an eye, the blooming flowers fall and grains start to fill the stalks. The rice is born grain. It should be ready for harvest soon. The hoe seems to be getting heavier and heavier. He looks at his hand. Thick calluses have formed, and his arms and shoulders have grown creased and wrinkled. The old farmer says nothing and continues to work the soil. A seedling emerges from the earth in the shadow of a patch of rice. Thump. Life, then death. Golden rice grains fall from the stalks, then fields after fields of crops fall lifeless onto the earth. The youth freezes just before he brings the hoe down, staring at the scene before him in shock. Old-timer, what happened to the rice? From spring to autumn, one harvest to the next. What is a season to you, young man? Reaping the fruit, filling your belly, planting the next batch of seeds. The youth lifts the hoe and brings down onto the earth again and again. The rice seeds take root and sprout underneath his feet, blossoming and bearing grain before wilting and returning to dust. He never gets the chance to hold the seeds in his hands. He feels his strength fade. His hair grows rampant, from black and strong to soft and fragile, and his clothes rip and tatter, hanging on the back that he could no longer keep straight. He brings the hoe down one last time, not having the strength to do it again. A knot of white hair drops down by his face. I spent all my life farming here, but life is too short. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, numbers that are too big for me. I'm old. He's standing on shambles. I will never see them grow up. I don't have the time to wait for them to bear fruit. It is beyond my lifespan. The old farmer plants a tree on the leaf and caresses the tree trunk before disappearing into thin air. Tree after tree appears on the leaf. There are strands of red silk tied to them, wooded placards hanging off the silk, but the writing on the placards are too blurry for Sheng to read. Wind causes the forest to rustle. What are these placards? Why can't we keep the crops we grow from the earth? Broken rice grains lie on the ground. What did you see, young man? Why don't I see the fruit? He lifts the hoe again, bringing it down, wilting and growing old with each swing. He pours his life into the earth so that it may nourish the crops, but the crops do not respond. They grow and wilt without leaving seed. His long white hair covers him like dried grass. Does any of this really mean anything? His back is hunched. The pain of age spreads across his back. Weakness has robbed him of the strength to speak. He can only mumble meaningless sounds. He casts his cloudy eyes to the ground, where patches of rice seedlings lie. Who will see the day? Sheng turns around. A white figure stands behind him, her long hair like an ancient old tree, blue as the river. The figure waves her sleeves, and the rice starts to grow rapidly. Before long, all Sheng can see is growing rice. The figure begins to stride, and everything is silent. Sheng! 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 Wake up! Rice paddies as far as the eye can see, all ethereal. Heaven and earth are expansive, but all is silent. The whiff of liquor and the dancing clouds flow into a goblet. Down the goblet, and all is clear and bright.
What a dream. How did you find the time to come? Aren't things pretty exciting over here? I wanted to see whether the cowling liquor you promised me was ready. How do I give it to you in a dream? What year's vintage are you talking about? Which dream of yours is this? At least let me sniff a whiff, if I don't get to taste it in a dream. Or see if my hardest working sister got a little thinner. This is what Nian has made?
The poet waves her sleeves, and a pot of wine and 2 goblets appear out of thin air. She cracks the mud seal on the pot, and the rich scent of liquor fills the air. The poet turns around and peers out at the rice fields that stretch for tens of thousands of li and beyond. The seasons circle overhead, winter giving way to summer, spring giving way to autumn.
Is this what you see in his heart? Rice fields as far as the eye can see, the seasons rotating. You farm here day after day. Is it really possible to build what you talk about here? Do you need a hand? I just don't want you to turn this whole vessel into a huge pot of wine, or suddenly get all philosophical and think you would rather dream forever than to wake up in a world without freedom. You sure you don't need my help? I've almost forgotten how many years you've spent here. You're gonna become my aged liquor if you don't get out and get some fresh air. For our other brothers and sisters, I worry that they don't see things clear enough. For you, I worry that you see too clearly. See too clearly such that you fail to see yourself. I'm just farming here. Everything has a heart, from the mountains to the rivers, to the trees and to the grass. To you, the trees and grass may not be any different from our own lives. What is it that you still can't put down? What keeps your mind occupied? Gia left behind so many scrolls and books. She wanted to teach everyone to read and write, but all those scrolls and books disappeared with her. No one remembers her, other than us. But I visited schools and the Tianchi bureaus, and I've seen handwriting that looked exactly like hers in their books. All of her things are no more. Even I didn't manage to keep a single one. But the words she said are now being said by students, and the words that she wrote are now being written by the pens of students. She once told me, It's the things I leave behind that count. I just want to see what I can leave behind on the far end of all these fields of rice. What I can leave behind if the day comes that I am no more. Has the end that you have been staring at for so long changed at all? Never. Nothing but snow, as far as the eye could see. The spring harvest, the autumn harvest, all buried in snow. I see. Do you feel disappointed at the result? Regret? Is life itself not a result? Do the countless mortals of the world give up living just because they realize it will eventually come to an end? Not all of our siblings think that way. Has our little brother come back? Yes. Where has the timid and docile we knew and loved gone? Little brothers and sisters are always cuter when they stay little. I'll go to him. One, two, three. What species is this megaphone? I've never seen it. It looks nice. You wouldn't understand if I explained. Just shut up and keep looking. That's not the right attitude when you're asking for help. Say, megaphone, I wanted to ask you something. You're a student at the Tianchi Burrows, right? Out of all my friends, you know more than anyone else, except for Shu and Xiaohe. Well, what is it? Spit it out. Have you ever seen my parents? Pihua! Shit! How many people do you think there are in the Tianchi Burrows? You think I remember everyone who passes through the doors like the security guards? Did the mud ball give you a concussion or something? You could have just said you don't know them. No need to be rude. Why are you asking? I saw a strange merchant today. He said he came from outside Dahuang, from very far away. Oh? Shu said my parents went to become Tianchis in a faraway place, but I never knew what they did or why they never came back after all these years. No one ever talked about it. Is there a chance you could ask for me, Megaphone? I'm not asking them to come back. I just want to write to them and tell them that Dahuang is about to get moved onto mobile plates, so they won't lose their way when they come home.
Okay, everybody, just breathe in here. Just take a second. Just, you know, it's fine.
Don't you worry. The Tianchi Burrows aren't stupid. Someone will bring them home when it's time for them to come home. Is this all the flood-affected plates? I think so. Why? Does the rice you're looking for have something to do with the flood? Don't ask questions that don't concern you. You wouldn't understand the work of the Tianchi Burrows, even if I explained it. You just wait and see. Xiaohe said that with my talent for arts, all I need to do is to read a few more books, and I'll get into the Tianchi Burrows for sure. Then I'll wipe that cocky look off your face. Sure. If and when you do. And don't tell anyone that I asked you to look for the rice stalks. But why? Forget it. You'll never say. Hey, how have you been doing? Anyone bullying you? Me? I'm pretty happy. Shu and Xiaohei take care of me, and all the farmers around here are really nice. I also made 2 new friends, Candlestick and Inkbrush. Why do you ask? Are you worried about me? Worried about you? Of course not. Nope. Well, thanks for the help anyway. Take care of yourself. And if anyone bullies you, smack them on the head with your flute like I taught you.
Grow, flax, mulberry in fields, grow as the sun rises. Drive away all evil, and bring new light to heaven and earth. I never liked this statue. Who decided that Shennong should be shabby and weathered? She liked to look pretty. She always had flowers in her hair, and she liked the clothes I made. And I remember how much her eyes looked like yours. If only Dusk had a portrait of her. But that was before she started to paint.
I didn't think you would ever come back.
Come now. I'm already past the age for running away from home. When did I ever say I wouldn't come back? The prodigal son starts to miss home when he's far away for long enough. And this is the one place that I felt like I could call home.
Now though? At a time like this?
If only I came back 2 days earlier, I would have made it in time for this year's festival opera and tasted your handmade dumplings.
Sure. Dumplings for the road, noodles for home. Whatever you want to eat, we've got it at home. Then it's time for you to go.
I've hardly been back for 2 days, and you're already kicking me out.
You could stay for as long as you want, if you were only here to take a rest. Are you only here to take a rest, though? That's what I want to ask.
Dahuang looks different every time I come back. Who would have thought that it was just a land of frozen soil 1,000 years ago? The people claimed this earth from a land of evil. Back then, the mountains and rivers were chaos, and the heavens knew no seasons, but hearts were brave and bright. There were no differences in upbringing or nationality. Everyone looked out for one another. The only enemy was the barren soil before them and the demonic threat that always loomed over their heads. I dreamt of her a few days ago, and I dreamt of that old gentleman too. I thought maybe it was time I came home. Fortunately, the way home was the same. Unfortunately, the same could not be said of people's hearts.
When was the last time you had a good look at the people here?
All under heaven live for profit and die for profit. Where profit goes, so do the people. It's the same everywhere. What do you think the Imperial Court spends its time discussing? How to protect our lives, or how to achieve an outcome that they believe to be safest? Do you really think that Nian's toy can keep everyone safe?
It's the only way to save everyone's lives.
You're handing your life over to someone else. It's not a fair partnership if one side shoulders all the risk. Both sides must bear the same risk in order for the partnership to last.
Have you been away for so long that all you care about is profit and loss?
I care about you, my sister. You're tired. Helping out with Nian's project is incredibly taxing, as if you don't have enough on your plate already in the fields and forests. Otherwise, you would have noticed earlier. How many catastrophes have struck this land in the last 1,000 years? You knew when and where each and every one would strike beforehand. You feel everything that happens to this land as though it was happening to you. What are you holding on to? Who's the one working against the laws of nature? Wake up! What did you see? What did I see? I saw Wait, how did you know? Zola is holding a thread in his hand. It soon vanishes into thin air. Maybe a practical joke, probably Originium arts. What you saw was an illusion, but it was something that he wanted you to see. Some kind of psychological suggestion. What did you see? I saw an old farmer. She made me work the fields. I couldn't get any crops to grow. I grew old and I couldn't lift a hoe anymore. There were many placards on the trees across the river. No one ever went there, but there seemed to be names written on them. The old farmer disappeared. Across the river? He showed you the other side of the river. Sheng sighs and looks along the river into the distance. The trees are green on the other side of the river. A gust of wind seems to rustle the leaves.
Xiaohe, Candlestick, there you are!
Grainbuds, where were you?
I was looking for rice stalks.
Rice? I thought you went looking for stock beasts. What kind of rice was it that you had to look for?
And don't tell anyone that I asked you to look for the rice stalks. I promised I wouldn't tell anyone.
It's all so weird. I can't make heads or tails of it. Who asked you to look for rice? What did it look like? Where did you find it?
Candlestick? What's the matter? You're starting to scare me.
Grainbuds!
Alright. It was a short little girl, a student at the Tianxi bureaus, who said she was looking for a special kind of rice to submit for homework. I didn't know what species it was. It was red, really red. There were some at the dam and in the paddies not far from there.
Sheng, where did I store the recently harvested grain? The centralized granaries in the core city. I need you to check on the granaries right now. No delay. Report anything unusual to the Xiaojiang immediately. Wait, what's going on? We might be too late already. Today, the Celebrations Opera comes in 3 acts. The Great Hunt, Signs of Heaven, and Flourishing Life. But there used to be another act between the first and second, Pacifying the North. It hasn't been sung for a long time. Do you remember, Shu? Can you sing another verse?
I still remember the tune, but not the words. All old stories, hardly worth a song.
Yes, hard to get in the mood when there's no audience. And hard for the audience to get into a forgettable opera. But I remember. I remember this demonic fragment to the north is the result of the people at the time resorting to any means necessary to resist it. Now its incarnation is helping the people fend off demonic calamity. Fate works in mysterious ways, doesn't it?
We should not be conflated with it.
You're right, we shouldn't. The people must never learn of the demonic presence, but how do you resist the lure of this one precious piece of unpolluted soil? For 1,000 years, the people here have lived across the river from that blight. Here a people have sowed for 1,000 years in blissful seclusion. The time has come to reap what was sowed 1,000 years ago, and it must be reaped by the right person.
Tell me, you didn't have anything to do with that disaster, did you?
I've never lied to you.
True, You just choose not to tell the truth from time to time. Why have you come back?
Like I said, I just felt like dropping by. Just like old times, I wanted to ask, will you come with me, sister?
My answer is the same. I will not leave. I can't leave.
So yeah, Chaos Birds. Also, goddamn, he is so untrustworthy. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, he literally went for the sword that is with Taipei. That is a ballsy move, buddy. I just love Taipei's whole thing of he's being offered goods and hey, you helped me here, have I don't know, a wall of cash. The fuck do you want with me? Fuck off. Just walks away. His kung fu brain is being good for something, at least for once. Also, I love that out of all of the illusions that are being, like, okay, the Chongya illusion being presented to him, I get it, why he punched that one. However, the other two that are being presented to him, I love that out of the two that are presented to him later, that the moment he sees the Lee one, he goes for the punch. That was hilarious as fuck. But, damn, definitely, ugh, really? Really? He's, and I'm wondering if he has the sword. I guess we'll see. He did threaten him with the life of his daughter. That is a scummy move, buddy. That is a very scummy move. I really don't like this guy. Ugh. Anyway, before we continue, we do have one new enemy to add here, which is simply called Blemish. And if anybody confuses this with Blemishine, I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna slap you. Anyway, a fabric construct that spreads blight across a wide area. If left unchecked, once fertile farmland will become a hotbed of blight in less than half a day. So yeah, get rid of it quickly. Anyway, we are moving on to our second training stage, which is simply called Guide the Waters. Irrigation is no simple matter, even with automated technology. And we move on to our final stage for today, with the story at least, which is titled Weave the Silk. He who wears silk knows more than the 5 grains. He is here to settle a millennia-long debt. Let's begin. We begin with a flashback.
You're leaving again? You're not going to try to talk me out of it this time? When have you ever listened? I'll feel empty inside if you don't at least nag a little bit. I can still walk, and my limbs remain sturdy. The spring wind is still chilly, so it's not like I can sunbathe in my chair. You know how dangerous it is up north. But Shu, you also know we have no choice. It took us decades just to carve out this little plot of land, but it's still not enough. We're always short on food and land. If we go a bit further north, we might just find some special crops that can grow in originium-tainted soil. Then we'd be able to cultivate the entire continent, and nobody would go hungry ever again. Even more reason for you to stay. If we can't find a crop like that, we'll just cultivate slowly. It might take 10 generations or 100, but eventually... Does it look like I can wait that long? Besides, if the others heard things like crops that can be grown in originium-tainted soil, or cultivating the entire continent, they'd think I lost my mind. There's no arguing with you. Wisdom is one of the perks that comes with age.
The woman extends her hand, her fingers tightly clenched.
Oh, Shu, would you mind reading my palm again? See if this old lady still has the luck to realize her dreams this late in life? I already told you, I'm not doing that anymore.
The woman smiles and unclasps her hand, revealing a small white flower in the middle of her palm. She pins the flower to the hair bun of the girl in front of her.
I found this in the fields today. I do believe it's the first flower to bloom this year, and that's surely a good omen. Maybe I'll make it back in time for this year's harvest. You just keep track of the days and have some short rib soup ready for me. Oh, Shu. You've always been able to see that future, haven't you? In the end, you'll... No, don't tell me. I don't want to know when I'll die. I just want to ask... Will our dream of the 10,000 ching of fertile fields come true?
Tianchi? Shu?
What?
You've been loitering around here all morning. You don't want to give up on this piece of land, do you?
Right. The mountains are lush, the water is clear, and the food's good too. I like it here a lot.
Tianchi Shu, you were transferred to Dahuang not too long ago, right? You look very young. I've been here since I was born. 67 now. In all my years, I never thought I'd see the day when I had to leave. It's said that more than 1,000 years have passed since Shennong reclaimed this land. How could we just
as crops are planted in spring and harvested in autumn, one cannot hope to evade the elements forever. It is the way of the world for things to go wrong, and we can only let nature run its course. When you move to a nomadic city, everyone will have something to do. Trust that the proper arrangements have been made.
We just don't understand. We thought our harvest has been weak the past 2 years because of the weather. It's nothing we can't overcome with a bit of hard work. But now you're telling us there's something wrong with the land itself. Shu, you Tianchis are wiser than us. Can you please think of a way to save this land? Just tell us what we have to do. It doesn't have to... It doesn't matter how hard we have to work, even if it means tilling every last clump of soil. It's rained just 2 days ago. So how come this land is... The farmer standing at the edge of the field suddenly goes wide-eyed. All the water stored in the fields drains away at a speed discernible to the naked eye, as if there is a bottomless abyss hidden beneath the land. In a flash, all the water is gone, and along with it, the life of the land. The moist paddy fields turn to hardened salt flats in an instant, countless perched fissures stretching outward. Stop right there. Lord Zuo. Where do you think you're going? I've delivered what I needed to deliver, and seen the people I needed to see. And so it's time for me to leave. Why? Have you come to see me off, Lord Zuo? You can't leave yet, not until you've given me an explanation. First, the Sui regulator tells me to go, then it tells me that I have to stay. You'll have to forgive me for not being able to keep my orders straight. What's your involvement with the demonic taint that's appeared in the middle of Dahuang, and what plans do we have for the devices in the core city? What's more, 100 years ago, a particular convict escaped from the capital, and in just a few months, his pawns were all across Great Yan. What have you been doing in that time? I can't fathom what you're trying to say. Then I'll simply have to escort you to a place where I can make things clear to you. The fact that you came alone shows great bravery, Lord Zuo. If not for the fact that I'm short on time, I'd be more than glad to stay and chat with such a promising young man. But what if I choose not to play along? The man takes out a jade weaver's shuttle. Aside from its extra delicate appearance, nothing about it seems out of the ordinary. Zula takes notice of the gossamer threads wrapped faintly around it. Stop right there! The shock is only momentarily. Before the man can lift the shuttle in his hand, the candle holder's blade is already at his neck. I'm just an ordinary man. I don't have the power to fight against you proxies. But within this scroll, there is no difference between the two of us. This scroll is one of my sisters. How could a mortal dare to harness this power? Perhaps you underestimated the extent to which the Farron mythologists have researched you. The Sui regulator is fully aware of each and every one of your abilities. I never expected Dusk to have such a low opinion of me, that she'd rather team up with a candle holder to make my life difficult. But is this not a crime for a candle holder to come into private contact with a proxy? As guilty as you already are, Lord Zuo, have you not considered the consequences of such an outrageous act? The most important thing is for me to stop you right here and bring you into custody. You drew the demonic taint into Dahuang in order to destroy the 12 pagodas and 5 cities? Was this entire incident orchestrated by that particular convict? And if I were to say yes, what then? What are you going to do about it, Lord Zuo? Kill me right here and now, granting the Sui beneath the capital city even greater consciousness? Is Yan really prepared to march to war? If that's what it takes to stop you, then so be it. Even now, the bestial Sui may not stand as a shield for the misdeeds of your kind. Nevertheless, it is still a trade whose value must be weighed. The man smiles, ignores the long blade pointed at his neck. He dusts off his robe and finds a stone step to sit on. I'm serious. Why so jittery? Now that I've been sealed within this painting, I am a simple tailor without the ability to do so much as capture a foul beast. What are you worried? I'll fly away. We rarely get such opportunities, so let's chat. The only thing you'll be doing is answering my questions. Are you not at all curious about the files in the library that you don't have the authorization to access? Such a great opportunity is sitting right here. Surely those questions are of much more interest to you. Don't try to talk your way out of this. Then let's settle the account. Between Great Yan and the Farenmuts.
The trail's gone cold. If these demon-tainted seeds floated over from that river, then why do the traces of contamination get fainter the closer we go to the edge of the city? Could it be...
She scoops up a handful of sand and twirls it carefully within her palm, her brow knitting together. The newly built nomadic city in the distance undulates as it sends faint vibrations through the earth, like a continuous mountain range or the bulging back of our gargantuan beast. Steel and concrete prop up soil that is thousands of years old, the massive structure seemingly erecting a bridge that spans the ages. But who knows of the vestiges left upon this land across its myriad epochs?
Was this your doing? All these years, you've been silently suppressing the demonic presence. What are you after? How could there be any Xian like you?
Lord Zuo, have you ever seen a silkworm? Or perhaps heard the idiom, to wrap yourself in your own cocoon?
What are you getting at?
I'm quite familiar with these things. For these creatures to grow, they must endure a calamity. Those that survive will break out of their cocoons, those that do not will have their lives quietly snuffed out in the darkness.
Who are you implying is the silkworm here?
You and I, and all things in existence.
Say what you will, but we have no interest in comparing ourselves to insects.
You people are so proud of civilization you built, but are there no records of the very beginning in the Sui regulator's files of how the true Lung was able to end the 100 Clan rebellion?
Of course we're aware. We understand full well that it was nothing more than a bout of folly brought about the bestial Sui's arrogance, not a gift of any sort. Why, are you that keen for Yan to sing the praises of your kind? Besides, you no longer have that kind of power.
No living being can escape the cycle of destruction and rebirth. Summer insects sing not of sleet or ice. Everything we see, hear, and think is enclosed in a silken cocoon, and we must never forget our humility.
What are you getting at?
Since the end of that great battle, at the appearance of our kind, the Sui regulator has also accumulated 1,000 years of history. Have you ever considered why Yan never moved to banish the Sui until now?
100 years ago, the convict incited great chaos, resulting in the death of a proxy. Now that the awakening of the bestial Sui is an inevitability, banishment has become a clear imperative.
The bestial Sui is awakening? Which Farron mythologist came up with that conclusion? Who stands to benefit when Yan goes to war? In whose interest would it be to banish the Sui? Did you fail to consider these questions, Lord Zuo, or are you simply pretending that they don't exist?
Why should I take anything you say at face value?
Naturally, you don't have to believe me. Let us settle another account. Setting aside the fact that I am a lowly peddler, my brothers and sisters have, for centuries, kept a great many dangers from Great Yan. Even when it comes to my unemployed little sister, Yan cannot even fathom the amount of effort it would have taken to build its nomadic cities without her. Of course, there is also the sister who has been standing guard here all this time. When it comes to the symbiotic history of the Faramoods and Yan, from beginning to end, my brothers and sisters have done nothing to harm you. All they've wanted is to live like ordinary people. But now, they are about to lose their lives over some undeserved disaster. Tell me, Lord Zuo, how are we to settle this account? Indeed, a number of you have made invaluable contributions to Yan, which the nation has never forgotten. Yet now, there are some of you who choose to stand against Great Yan, threatening the lives of countless people. Were you not suggesting just now that your Xians had taken good care of Yan? Why then, at the first sign of hardship, do you turn against the Xians? Where even are those Xians? From beginning to end, there have only been ordinary people. Why not take a look at the ground beneath your own feet? Didn't we already dispose of the contaminated crops? No. This is the grain that was harvested normally before. How did it become like this? The granary is filled with the rice that was harvested only a few days ago. What should have been a golden mound of grain has now turned into a red and black mass. It was just like a dream. She traversed a great long journey, crossing mountains and ridges in the ice and snow, reaching an endless field of rice at the end of the road. The rich stalks glimmering like gold, she did not know who had planted them here, or why they grew so prosperously. How wonderful. Then stay here. She hears a voice calling out to her. No. She remembers her unfinished business and the place she must return to. She picks up a stalk of rice. A vague figure weaves a hoe around, burying seeds in a plot. You're back? Thank goodness, everyone was waiting for you. You were gone so long. Did the trip go smoothly? Did you find the crops you were searching for? Laoshi, are you alright? You look a bit... What is this? Help! Someone!
Xiaohe, you're still here?
I found it. The contamination, it didn't come with the flood. The source must be underground. If we gather the Tianxi burrows, it might not be too late to start researching now.
There's no need to bother with that. We've already decided to abandon these lands.
It won't take that much time. Give me maybe 2 or 3 days, and I should be able to pinpoint the source of the contamination. There must be a solution. Every bit of land here in Dahuang was hard won. We haven't put in anywhere near that much effort yet, so how could we just give up?
It's not just a few plots of land. It's the entire city.
What?
Everyone is to move into the core city and follow it east, leaving behind all the other fields here by tomorrow. The other Tianxis are getting everyone together to prepare for the move. This is what matters most right now. You should go and help them.
Whose idea was this?
Who else could order the entire city relocated?
Why? All these experimental fields and these newly planted crops, this has already been a famine year. If we give up on these crops, how many more people are going to go hungry? It'll be just like it used to be.
We've tried our best. Evacuate the people as soon as possible. Establish post-disaster countermeasures in advance. You are a Tianxi, so have your priorities straight at a time like this.
Is the legend true?
What nonsense are you spouting now?
What's hidden in the permafrost? on the north bank of the river. It's those things that contaminate our land, isn't it?
Just treat it like any other catastrophe. There have been so many things we couldn't protect over the years.
The people aren't just going to leave. This is our land. Nobody's going to leave until we figure out exactly what's going on. If Shennong could keep these enemies from our homes, then so can we. Is it an illusion? The vast fields in front of him instantly turn empty and barren. No, it's not that the fields have turned barren. Rather, heaven and earth are being invaded by a foreign space. It warps beyond the recognition of any soul. What's going on over there?
It's too late.
Shu, what incarnation was that? Lao, is she sick? How did she become like this?
Give her a proper burial.
The thin, emaciated body falls to the cold, hard ground. A small pack of seeds tucked in the pocket of her flimsy shirt. Are these the seeds she brought back? Did she manage to find the legendary seeds? Our harvests have been terrible the last couple of years. Maybe with this pocket of seeds, there's some hope after all. Let's take it back.
How did demonic contamination end up underground? Isn't the Chamber of Heaven's design standing guard outside? How did the contaminants get past the old one and make their way inside?
Based on current observations, the contamination here likely existed long before the Chamber of Heaven's designs did. The underground area here is already highly contaminated.
But the demonic influence here hasn't spread in all these years. Was it because of her? But why now of all times? Could she have?
The Chamber has likely already determined the source of this calamity, but the top priority remains dealing with the crisis at hand. The impact of this demonic catastrophe is unprecedented, and well beyond the scope of any of the Chamber's plans.
That's clear from the fact that you, Chamber Tianxi's, actually called me up. So, what options do we still have?
Have all the Chamber's forces on the north bank withdraw, and at the same time have the demon defense line pull back 50 kilometers to the south. Abandon all plots and evacuate to the core city. After that, we'll need your help activating the core city's defenses and re-establishing a defensive line using the core city as a barrier.
This plan doesn't tally up how many people are going to be sacrificed.
Demonic taint is not like any ordinary calamity. It must be nipped in the bud.
I've never seen Nian make such a rough call before. Who ordered it? Was it your big boss, the great and unknowable old Tianxi?
Just do as you're told, and don't ask too many questions.
What are you looking at?
Why would she do this?
She probably doesn't want to leave, though. If the demons had already contaminated the land all the way back then, she's been single-handedly suppressing it all this time. 1,000 years. What would it feel like to have your consciousness gnawed by demons for 1,000 years? Shoo, good grief.
There's no other way.
There's nothing we can do. You can't whisk everyone away inside a painting, and I can't build a castle out of thin air to carry everyone off either.
Then, what about her?
What do you mean?
Surely she would have known that this day would eventually come. The question is, where is she now? crying. The cries came from far away, babies wailing, old people sobbing, even the crops in the field are mourning. Just like the scene from 40 years ago. That was another famine year.
You're Shu? You're from the Sui regulator? Your orders are to farm Dahuang. Catastrophes have been frequent in recent years, and harvests have failed year after year. As a proxy, you clearly have the ability to save these crops, yet you've chosen to stand by and do nothing? The people can't do what I can. If I save them, the people will only think about how to make this miracle happen again. But I can't save them every time. One day, I will be gone. And when that time comes, the power I wield now will become nothing more than the root of evil that harms others.
Is there nothing you can do?
There really isn't much that I can do, other than write down my experiences and pass them down to future generations. Once the hard years are over, there will be bountiful years to follow. People have always had to rely on themselves to survive.
But how am I to believe that by remaining here you're doing something good for Yan and its people?
How long are you staying here?
Until this time next year.
Wait for this year's harvest. You'll see. By the way, have you ever worked the land before? It's planting season now, and everyone has their hands full. Would you mind lending me a hand?
I vaguely remember that the crops grew particularly well that year. The plowed rice piled up into little hills, and the farmers said they wouldn't need to worry about catastrophe for the next few years.
You're smiling?
I'm really glad.
Are you still going to write me up in your report to the Sui regulator?
Are you going to stay here forever? Stay here and help us? With you here, everyone feels safe.
I used to have a friend just like you.
Now, there truly is no other way. Just once, I'm begging you, just this one time. Can you please save the people here only once? You promised me that you'd stay here forever. Shu. The room is empty. A warm bowl of soup still sits on the table.
I see. You've already...
The rain starts to fall.
It's raining?
The farmer looks up to see a thin cloud covering the crescent moon in the sky. Shortly thereafter, a few drops of cold rain fall.
Who is that?
In the distance, someone walks deeper into the fields. She walks across the barren fields, and wherever her feet fall, small verdant patches follow. Wei, where are you going? She does not respond, and simply continues to walk forward. She walks further and further, until her figure disappears altogether with a thunderclap. Unlike the heavy rain from just a few days earlier, the rain right now is so tender and fine. As the rain falls, all the cracks in the land fade away. and thus a soul trapped for 1,000 years dissipates. All things will come to grow. Laoshi? It's raining? As I thought. Like ink stains blending and blurring with water, the painting sealing this section of space gradually dissipates without a trace. What just happened? You were so close. Why you... Lord Zuo, I have no intention of becoming your enemy. However, I do hope you take what I said to heart. The days ahead of us are long, and there shall come a time when we meet again. In the end, this is how it turned out. Just like I said. My dear sister, these humans can't do anything without you. May you rest well for now. When you next awaken, everything will be better. Well, damn. I have no words. I'm gonna try to get words out. Well, first off, if anybody is in a twist and a panic right now and thinking like, wait, is she dead? What? I want you to think very closely about this. Usually the rule with Arknights is, if recruitable, not dead. So... should be fine? That was a very ballsy move there. I have... it did definitely send some chills down my spine, but oh boy. Oof. We'll see, I guess, the next time when we continue this story. But yeah, damn, what a part. Also, demons. Not pollution, corruption. Well, I don't know how the story is gonna go from here, but it would be very interesting to actually outside of IS4 to see collapsals in a story. That would definitely be interesting, cause right now I think they only appear in IS4 and are very elaborately described there, and you can fight them as much as you want. But yeah, would be interesting. Didn't even think about that. We could be dealing with the quote-unquote demonic presence and stuff like that in here. But what interesting. Also, young bro is being more and more sus the more the story goes. Ugh, that guy. And also, Zhu Li being a badass, and I just love that even these Sui siblings are like, nah, him, nah, do something against him. Here, have a scroll of my power. Go and do something. Goddamn Dusk. What the hell? Alright, but before we head out, I have one more thing here, and that is to welcome our new boy onto the team. So let's do this. Okay, I was just, Jesus Christ, this was not ending. I'm very happy that he's only obtainable through this event, or rather that he's for free obtainable through this event, because holy shit, getting him with this long introduction, getting him in a regular summon would, oh god, this is so long. What the hell, buddy? Well, welcome onto the team. Regardless, holy shit. But yeah, anyway, this is where we're gonna end for today. Gonna be chilling for the rest of the day. I need a break for my voice, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And next part will be out probably 2 days from now, and we shall see how the story evolves from there. Probably gonna be 2 more parts. Let's be real here. Probably gonna be 2 more parts in this, considering we made it up to stage 5. Oh yeah, also, we made it to stage 5, and also, the background changed. Lovely, right? Anyway, that will be for next time. Oh. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like on the video, that would help out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, more to come. And for those of you who are new to the channel or are listening to this right now, if you aren't subscribed yet, everything in Arknights is done, essentially, on the channel. You can find pretty much every single one of the side stories, main story, everything, up to date. And this one will be soon done as well. So yeah, enjoy. Thank you very much. And if you want to support me even more directly, there are memberships on the channel. As always, no video will be behind a membership. They're literally just there to, you know, support me more directly. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.